Today I'm rating 4 different kinds of raised elevated garden beds, so you don't have to. Some of these beds I've had for 3+ years, some for just a full year, and one of the beds I actually just built and installed. But what they all have in common is these beds are all elevated. Before I talk about the actual bed designs and styles, let's talk a little bit about why elevated beds might be a good choice for you. So an elevated bed simply means that the bed itself is elevated off of the ground, so it does not actually make contact with the ground. It has legs of some kind that keep it at a height so that I don't have to bend and kneel. And that was my main motivation for actually using beds like this with my chronic pain and my arthritis. Gardening in ground was really painful for me and just not sustainable. But in switching over to primarily elevated beds, I learned there were actually a ton of other benefits to this that I didn't even realize at the time. First of all, they're too high up for a lot of pests to reach them, so I don't have any issues with rabbits munching my plants, with deer getting into things, even though I guess technically they could probably reach it, slugs, no slugs at all. And I really don't have issues with weeds either because I've filled the beds with a premium soil. I'm able to control the soil quality, but I'm also able to control the weeds a lot easier. So for me, elevated beds have become kind of a cornerstone of having a low maintenance, accessible garden. But I'm not loyal to one particular type. I like to try all different ones. I'm kind of one of those like information gatherer type people. I love to research. I will spend hours reading reviews. So to be able to kind of gather that information and do my own review is pretty exciting, especially because I know this is a big investment that I know a lot of us really would prefer to just make once if we can. So we're gonna actually be talking about 4 different elevated beds, and then we'll do a bonus round of a different type of bed that I still think is very accessible as well. Downsides to elevated beds are, of course, you have to fill them. And a lot of times that can add up pretty fast, especially if you're using a high quality soil mix. They are also pretty much container gardens. So a container garden is gonna dry out faster. It's gonna have much higher fertilization demands because it's not making contact with the soil. It's going to take a few years for it to kind of build up its own soil microbiome. Like I've only just recently started to see earthworms in these beds. And honestly, I don't know how they even got there. I guess I could have introduced them myself, but I didn't. Maybe it's probably from my compost. It's just something to keep in mind as you're kind of making a decision about whether you should grow in a conventional raised bed or an elevated raised bed. There are additional kind of maintenance and costs associated with it, and you have to be a little bit more mindful of keeping things fertilized and keeping things watered. So these were the first elevated raised beds that I added to my garden, and they're actually one of the more exciting ones because they have a hidden self-watering feature that's built into them that I'm not even sure most people realize is there, but I almost never have to water these beds, which is kind of crazy, and I'll show you how that works. And why I was really drawn to these beds is because they had this beautiful organic design to them that I just thought was really classic and timeless, plus the arches that you could add on just kind of sold me. Like I loved the idea that I could get a ready-made arch that was matched to the other materials that the beds used and just slid into place really easily. So the arches are an optional add-on. They have these beds in 2x6 and 2x4 sizes. The arches, I believe, are 4 feet wide. I like to grow snap peas, cucumbers, and tomatoes on the arches. It really just lends itself to such a beautiful, like you feel like you're in a space. It's very intentional with these beds. In terms of assembly, I would say this is definitely a 2-person job. You need 2 people to assemble these. Some of the parts I did have issues with alignment, so it's really important that you're assembling on a flat surface so that you can get everything really square. I think alignment is a pretty common issue I've experienced with any kind of wood raised bed. I wouldn't say that's an element where I have issues with the quality. It's just something that you kind of have to be prepared for. Another downside with these particular elevated beds is they are not built to withstand the heavy load of real soil. So you do have to use true potting soil in this because it's a lot lighter weight, which is a pretty expensive investment, and also adds some challenges in terms of planting like vegetables in particular with a potting mix. If you're using one that's maybe not the most high quality, you're going to need to actually add a lot more fertilizer to the beds than you might think. But let me show you what I think is probably the most amazing part about these beds. Underneath all of these beds are plastic trays, food safe plastic trays. And you can kind of see them here. There's 4 all in a row linked together with this tubing. Above the raised beds, there's this access port where I can actually unscrew this, and there's a float in here that tells me if the beds are full of water. So I can fill these raised beds. They hold 25 gallons of water each in something called a sub-irrigated planter system. So basically that means all of the water is being drawn up by the root system underneath. Now obviously that's tricky when you're first transplanting things or direct sowing. You still need a surface water, but honestly I almost never have to fill these trays because they also function as a rainwater collection system. When excess water drains through this soil, it collects inside of those trays. So these beds are almost always full of rainwater. Some people have asked me if I've had issues with mosquitoes laying eggs in there. They can't access it. It's all completely buried under the soil. And if the beds do ever overflow with water from rain, the trays aren't completely sealed. So there's a way for them to kind of leak out water around the edges as it's overflowing. I've never had an issue with that. So that's another big reason why you need to be using potting soil in these, because the water is so heavy, and that's something that the beds need to also be lifting. These beds have metal legs, which I really like, and they've added some add-ons that you can grab to actually pop trellises on these that are not just arch trellises. They've got full rectangle trellises you can add to the long end, but essentially all you do is pop off this cap that's on the end, and that allows you to insert things like the arch trellises. So for the gardener's bed, I'm actually going to rate these a 7 out of 10. And again, if you want to check these ones out, I will have them linked for you down below. I'm not saving the best for last for you today. I'm actually saving it for second, because these raised beds scored the highest for me in terms of assembly, functionality, and design. They seem really, really simple, but they've been designed so thoughtfully that they can be put together completely by yourself, by one person, pretty fast. I want to say in like 20 to 30 minutes I was able to assemble these. And they also have this amazing top sill feature, which actually inspired my entire tea garden design last summer. I planted everything in here that I could grow to brew my own herbal teas, because you can rest your mug on this as you're doing your garden chores. Of course, you can rest all sorts of things on it, like your tools, but for me, being able to come outside in the mornings with my mug of tea that I grew in the garden and put it on those garden beds has been such a rewarding ritual. So the reason these are so easy to assemble is actually because they use something called dovetail construction, where all of the pieces basically are built to just be slotted together. Another really nice thing about this design is that it has an adjustable soil depth. So on the gardener's beds that we looked at first, with the addition of the self-watering trays, we've got about 10 inches of soil depth, which for me has not been limiting at all. A lot of people will ask me, well, how can you grow something full size in 10 inches of soil? You just got to use more fertilizer. I haven't had any issues growing full-size vegetable plants in those beds, but with these beds, you can actually have your soil depth go all the way up to 15 inches. If you want to use less soil, maybe because you're on a budget or you're only going to use it to grow herbs, then you can adjust that soil height. Now you need to adjust it before you fill it with soil. It's not really possible to do after it's been assembled. These beds come in 2x8 and 2x4. These are the 2x4 size. They're made of reclaimed offcuts of Western red cedar, so it's super duper durable. I did end up staining these with a cedar stain, which does need to be redone on the top sill because that gets the most exposure to the sun. But you really don't have to stain these because they are cedar. They're built to withstand the elements. They also have this really beautiful notched design in the side, which is just something that I've never seen in a raised garden bed before. So there's a lot of really thoughtful touches that went into the appearance and the assembly and the functionality of these beds, and I just think they're really the best bang for your buck in terms of what you're gonna get. They're about on the same price point as the gardener's beds, but in terms of assembly and quality, they're just a little bit higher for me. These are the Epic elevated beds. I would rate these a 9 out of 10, and I will put the link down in the description. These are my newest beds, so new in fact that I haven't even filled them up with soil yet, so I can't give you a full year review of how these beds hold up for me, but I already have a lot of opinions about them. So these are the first metal beds that I've ever made or used in a garden. I had not been able to find a metal bed that had that kind of elevated feature to it up until now. And so far, I've been really impressed with the quality. So the metal is fully kind of treated to be completely rust proof for up to 20 years. So these beds are built to last. So they're a lot more lightweight than other beds that I have in the garden. In terms of assembly, these ones were really easy and straightforward, but still some of the hardest, only because there are so many screws. And I don't know what they could have done about that. Like, these things have to come flat packed, so of course they need screws to put them together and keep them sturdy. But oh my gosh, like, I have arthritis in my hands and I really needed a better tool than what it came with in order to do all these kind of tiny turns. So if that's not something you already have and you're stuck with the tools that the kit comes with, it can be pretty frustrating to put them together, but you can put them together completely by yourself. You don't need a second person. I'd say the instructions say to use 2 people and it'll take 15 minutes. That I don't think is accurate. I don't think you could get these assembled in 15 minutes, even with 2 people, unless you had already put together maybe 5 of them and you had like an assembly line style system, which is one of the cool things about being able to have multiple of the same bed. I have 3 of these in here, so it did get easier the more that I did it, but not everybody's gonna be buying more than 1 of these at a time, so it can be kind of frustrating to just kind of, you know, get used to deciphering instructions. Although the instructions were very clear, everything's really well labeled in terms of helping you figure out how to orient things. It's just tedious. It's just tedious. And I mean, thankfully, it's like you only have to assemble beds once, right? That's not something that would prevent me from recommending these beds at all, but it's just something to keep in mind. If you have physical limitations of any kind, you might want to ask for help with these. Some of the other things that I really like about these beds, other than the appearance, is actually in terms of functionality, because these have some really nice shelves underneath, which none of my other elevated raised beds have. So we see a lot of this kind of shelf design in the cheaper, like Walmart brand raised beds that you can put on a deck or a patio or something like that, that aren't really built well. But this is the first time I've seen a design like that in something that's built with really high quality standards. And I just think it's super functional and I love the way that it looks. Another really nice add-on that you can get for these beds is actually to add casters. So these beds are now movable, which gives me a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to rearrange in the greenhouse. If you were to set these up on some kind of hard outdoor surface, it could be really, really nice to have. I'm curious to see how the draining system works on these. It looks like the draining all happens along the long edges because it's got these channels built into the bottom board. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. I've never seen one where there weren't just holes in the bottom before, but I think it should work totally fine and actually prevent you from losing soil out through the bottom. These are the Vigo elevated beds and I would rate these an 8 out of 10. They'll be linked down in the description. And for our last bed before we get to our bonus bed, I have my problem child. I want to love these so badly, but they've just kind of missed the mark in a couple of key ways for me. And that's not to say that they don't have really valuable features, especially for the money. I would say these are the budget beds, but they're not that much cheaper than any of the other options in a way that I think justifies the kind of sacrifices that I personally have to make. But judge that for yourself. So these beds can be put together very easily, very quickly by one person. They're also really accessible if you're a wheelchair user because of the unique V-shaped design of the bed. You can actually get right underneath them to access the soil more easily, which could be very useful depending on your physical limitations. But unfortunately for me, that's kind of where my love for these beds ends. Now these are on their 2nd year. Appearance-wise, I'm just not loving them. They come pre-treated, so I did not stain these, and they have kind of this like greenish hue to them. The wood's really smooth, no splinters, nothing like that, but it's just cheap. I think it's fir, and I'm just really used to working with cedar raised beds. So for me, switching over to something that isn't so high quality in terms of the wood itself has been really jarring. This type of wood is really soft, it's thinner, it's warped in a lot of places over the last year. I'm just not sure of the longevity of these beds at this point based on what I've seen so far, which makes it harder for me to recommend them. Now, one of the other unique things about having this V-shaped design to the bed is that it's going to use less soil, but you also get way less depth to the soil along the outside edges, which does impact plant growth because it really is only as thick as this outside board and then tapers in. So these are the Vegtrug beds. I will rate them a 5 out of 10, and if you want to check these ones out, it will also be linked in the description. All right, it's bonus bed time, and you guys have probably heard me talk about these all the time, and I'm never gonna stop talking about them because for me, they hit all of the marks in terms of accessibility, price point, durability, and looks. And assembly there's basically none. So it's pretty much the best of all worlds if you're not looking for a more standard traditional elevated raised bed style of garden. So this vertical planter actually allows you to grow 30 plants full size. I know it seems impossible, full size plants in a spot the size of a doormat. It literally takes up about 2 square feet of space. So this is really good for small space gardeners. They have so many fun optional accessories. So right now I have these on the spinner bases, which is great because they're up against the wall of the greenhouse. So it's really important that I be able to spin it in order for all the plants to get equal amount of sunlight. Now the issue with a lot of vertical tower planters that you'll see is the way that the watering is done is not equal. So a lot of times the top tier or the bottom tier will get way more water than the tiers in between. So what they've done with these is they've actually patented a system that drips the water down really slowly. You fill this top tank, which there's also an add-on you can get that is automated with a timer system so that it will autofill for you every day or on whatever schedule you want. And then that water from up here slowly trickles down to all of the tiers. Now they have so many fun colors for these. They released limited edition colors all of the time, and it's one of the few things where I actually have a hard time resisting impulse buying because the colors are just so good. This is the basket weave texture. They also have a smooth texture, and this is the original design, which has much deeper planting pockets than what they call the leaf design, which has shallower planting pockets, so you get more tiers. I think you get 7 tiers instead of 5, so it's better for smaller plants like leafy greens. But with the original, you can grow anything, which people don't really believe me when I say this, but you can do any kind of root crop. You can do your squash, your peppers, tomatoes, and eggplant in this. It is deep enough. Again, it's a container garden, so it's really important to be using a high quality potting mix with a lot of organic matter and making sure you're keeping up on top of fertilization with these. But it's so easy. If I could have a whole garden that was just these, I totally would. I actually considered only doing these inside of the greenhouse at one point. They have trellis add-ons for this. They have kind of mini cold frame add-ons for this. They have frost covers that are specifically designed to fit around it so I can continue growing in these even in the winter. And they're crazy durable. Like, I've heard of people having these fall off of their porches onto hard cement and they don't break. We leave these out in all weather conditions. They've shown 0 signs of wear. I think I'm on my 3rd season with these, and it's a high quality, food safe, BPA free plastic. You can also modify the height of them. So you could have one that's just 2 tiers, you could have 4, it doesn't matter. So for short people like me, kind of stacking the last tier could be a little bit tricky because it's a little bit heavy, but with this stacked, I don't really ever have to unstack it. But if you were a wheelchair user, for example, and you couldn't reach the higher levels, you could just leave it at 2 or 3 tiers, and that would still eliminate the bending, the kneeling, the weeds, the munching bunnies. So these are really great if you have issues with strawberries, like slugs and bunnies eating your strawberries. I've seen people completely pack these with strawberries. These are the original Greenstalk, and I rate these a 10 out of 10, honestly. For what they are in terms of a vertical planter, they're perfect. And if you want to check these out, I will also link them down in the description. And that's my review of every single raised bed that I have in my garden. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these raised beds that we talked about today, or if there's any other styles that you would like me to review in the future. You can put those requests down below as well. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos like this one. Thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you next time.